Hey guys, today I found a new post on Reddit from a user named MEGEGG441. Basically says that what do you do when you have no savings? I, female, 20 years old, have been moved out since I was 18. My mom is abusive, so there is no way I can go back to living with her. I'm in school full time and working. I'm in an apartment with a roommate. I've been moved out for 2 years and I was finally able to build up $3,000 in savings. My car is broken and needs $2,000 fix. My laptop just killed itself and my dog just got a ear infection. So the entirety of my savings will be gone once I deal with these things. It took me 2 years to build up these savings. I felt at peace having a little in savings even though it wasn't much. Uh, how do I learn to not feel in a constant state of stress with zero savings? What happens if another huge financial issue comes around? And so, to answer the first question, how do I learn to not feel in constant state of stress with zero savings? I don't know if there's a way to do that. I just don't think, if you have zero savings, you're gonna feel a lot of stress, and rightfully so. And the very question would be, what happens? And that's what it is that, and that's why you gotta have an emergency fund. That's why you gotta have a cushion. Of course, that's why you saved it up, $3,000, right? And again, as a lot of people said already, that that's the whole point of having an emergency fund, right? Is so you can use it in an emergency. Uh, Having said that, of course, the little bit of a long story behind it is that, of course, a couple of things I think more important than that is like where you are currently, and obviously, you know this better than anybody else, but you're 20 years old, you moved out since 18, you say you're not going back home, and so that means you're gonna be independent, you're gonna live by yourself, with the roommate and what have you. Um, but so like you're no longer a child, like you're no longer gonna be dependent on anybody else, other than your ability to kind of earn the money on your own by yourself, with your own means. Um, so if that's the case, and you're taking the full responsibility for yourself, of yourself, by yourself, and all of that, you kind of have to decide which way, right? So the and I don't know the entire dynamics of what happens, with the student loans and stuff like that. I don't know how you're paying for your school tuition, books and other stuff, school fees and stuff like that currently as a 20-year-old, because you say you're in school full time and you're also working. So I don't know if you're getting like a full scholarship, right, to kind of go to where you're at, or if you've already taken out student loans and what have you. I don't know if you can do both. I don't know if you can have student loans and scholarship at the same time. I'm sure you can, because I know some of that uh, student loans actually helps you pay for the living status and situation and stuff like that. Um, I think you mentioned somewhere that you got a few years left and you're trying to be a occupational therapist. So I'm not a huge I'm not too familiar with the industry of the occupational therapist. I don't know how long it takes for you to, get the degree, get the job. I don't know if there's like a certificate you have to get, or if there's a licensing requirement and stuff like that. I don't know how long it will take, or help you make. I don't know how much it will help you make. Uh, but if it is gonna take a little bit longer than that, and if you're in a sense that you don't want to get into a huge debt or be in a school for a long, long, long time, um, you know, in which, because I'm coming from this place where I don't know any of that stuff, um, you know, I, in my opinion, I think you probably put a pause on your school for now, maybe, because again, if you had a family member you can rely on, ask for help, and they can kind of help you out. They have the means to do all of that for you, so you can kind of finish your school. By all means, take as many classes as you can, as much as you can handle. Try to finish the school as much as you can. Finish it. Start working, make money, pay them back. Stuff like that. But since it sounds like you're kind of like all alone by yourself, I just don't know if you have that luxury of, going to the class, still, going to school full time, and still working, where you can kind of manage both the expenses of living plus going to school. So like if in the same situation, instead of you being 20 years old, if you're 30 or 40 or something like that, and if you were working full time, and if you just out of nowhere you just have to drop everything and go to school full time, and maybe start working maybe part time at the time with no savings and stuff like that, I just don't know if that's a good idea. Like I will probably stop. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's just because that's just financially that's just not right. Even though your career path may be so bright and you could be making twice, three times, four times more, 10 times more than what you're making now. It's just that you don't do that until you have a little bit of safety. And again, that's the reason why you're stressed so much. What if something happens real quick? Of course, again, you're not gonna die, right? It's just that chances are you'll just get into more personal loans. You'll get into more credit card debt. You probably won't be able to make those payments back, so we probably ruin your credit. You get into student loans above and beyond, as much as you can take out, and it will take you years after years and after years to try to pay it off, if you could ever pay it off. And it's just, I just don't know if any of that makes sense. And again, just the risk reward is just too much, right? I think just too much risk for that to happen. And it could be because I'm also like very risk adverse person, right? So I don't know if that's what I would recommend. And another thing, I really am hesitant to say it, but I feel like I really have to say it, because again, this is regards to personal finance, is that your dog, as much as I love dogs myself, I grew up with a couple of dogs myself, and it's good companion to have, and it really helps financial, psychologically, with companionship and all of that. But financially, I just don't know if it makes sense given your current situation. I think you kind of have to give him up for the time being, for the adoption and stuff like that. Make sure he's taken care of and stuff like that. But I just don't think you can afford to keep him or her for now, just because again it costs so much. Even if it doesn't have any health issues, I think the cost of just feeding him, taking care of him, health wise, like routine checkup and stuff like that, hygiene, like again from the beginning to the end, like everything is just gonna cost us so much. And there are so many things that I've seen online where it just makes things even worse. Like as a full-time student and a full-time or part-time employee, how much time do you actually have to spend with that dog that you are raising? And I don't know who's there to kind of take care of him or her, while you're not there. And I don't know if you have just one dog or two dogs, but but if they don't have any companionship of their own, and you're the only one, maybe your roommate sometimes take care of your dog, but I just don't know if it's a good option for you or your dog. Just because if they're not gonna get the proper attention and care that he or she deserves or whatnot. Just because your current situation, and as that things gets more tougher and tougher, it's gonna be even harder for you to properly take care of that dog. And I just don't know if right now is a good time to have the dog. If you can again give them up for good adoption and stuff like that, I think that might be a good option for your dog. Just because, again, just strictly financing wise, financial sense, as far as your thing is concerned, going back to the whole thing with the school, again, I recommend putting a pause on your school and maybe trying to pick up a full-time job and maybe another part-time job, so having like 2 or 3 jobs where for now and next couple of years you're doing nothing but just saving up money, earning money and saving money, only so you can actually go back and finish the school that you put a pause on, because that's why it's called a pause, right? You're putting a pause on it for now temporarily, And your focus should be, again, nothing but just, keep pouring that money or earning that money as much as you can, as much as you can, and going back and finishing the degree, so you have the second options, so you can have the third option. So, and at the time maybe you decide, hey, you know what, that really doesn't make sense. I actually make more money doing this and doing that and stuff like that. But I wouldn't think about side hustle. I wouldn't think about doing this and doing that, other than just like killing yourself and just working as much as you can, as hard as you can, and saving as much as you can, so you can go back to school. Maybe quit all the work or pause the work afterwards, after saving all that money, and finish the school, and then you can live off of that savings until you finish the school. And then if you decide to go back to work and do this and get a dog and all of that stuff, you can do all of that later on. But again, strictly financially speaking, I think that's the route we have to go. Is it first, unfortunately, but get rid of the dog, put a pause in the school, go work, find a full-time job, second job, third job, even if it's a job you hate, just again, put your head down, just work as much as you can, earn as much as you can, and save it as much as you can. And that, don't think about investing, don't think about doing this, starting business, like none of that stuff. I mean, unless like that's your thing, like you want to do the business, then maybe you can try that out. But other than that, I think really, I would say, save that money, go back to school, finish that, get the degree, get the career started, and then you're set from there. Like again, you gotta have the base, you gotta have the minimum base set up properly, before you can do anything else. Like again, the dog to me is another luxury. So hope that helps. I know that may not be the right thing to say, especially given today's day and age and stuff like that. But I grew up with a couple of dogs myself. It's just I know that they could be very costly. Like I had one of my dogs recently, my parents' dogs recently. I think it was like $20,000 or something crazy, to get some certain tests done and stuff like that. It just that's a lot of money for anybody. It's just that's a lot. So let me know. Thanks.